All right, 46 goals scored in 17 matches already at the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire, and each match has produced at least a goal. On that note, we welcome you on Sport Africa to yesterday at the AFCON, and of course, we'll be previewing matches that will be going down today. Of course, news coming in from Cote d'Ivoire is the suspension of Amrouche, the coach of the Tanzania football team. Remember, they lost 3-0 to Morocco in the first game, and he was initially suspended by the Confederation of African Football for 8 matches. And of course, he has now been suspended by the Tanzania Football Federation after he made allegations that Morocco controls affairs of the Confederation of African Football. Such a huge statement to make. I welcome James Agberebi to this edition of the program. James, you're welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you, Femi. Happy to be on today's edition.
Quickly, let's get started talking about Amrouche. Of course, an Algerian born in Belgium. You know the political rivalry, that's trickled down into almost all areas of life between Algeria and Morocco. And I think Amrouche, he visibly brought that sentiment into football. And I think CAF wouldn't condone such, James.
Yes, very unfortunate one. We all saw where that was coming from. It was more than football. He went political. I mean, what a statement to make that Morocco. He made some very nasty statements like they control CAF, they try to manipulate results of officiating. So I think CAF made the right decision to suspend him. And also the Tanzania Football Federation has also want to distance themselves from the statement and did the needful. So because statements like that can cause a lot of havoc, and we don't want that in our football. Whatever politics or issues, they should leave it out of the football pitch. We're here to play football, not to make statements that can cause chaos. So I think I support the fact that the two football bodies, that the Tanzanian Football Federation and CAF, they came in and they did the right thing. So I think this should serve as a lesson to others who want to bring in politics into football.
Okay, all right. Of course, Amrouche joined the Tanzania football national team in March 2023, and the CAF wouldn't want anything that would compromise the integrity of the game. James, let's get started. Yesterday, we saw Cape Verde becoming the first African country to qualify for the knockout stages, after which Senegal also recorded a resounding 3-0 victory over 3-1 victory, I should say, over Cameroon. James, this Cape Verde team, what is really about them? Because I remember in 2021, after they lost the World Cup qualifier to Nigeria, the coach, he actually promised that they're going to get better. And certainly, evidently, they have been better.
Yes, and that's the thing about teams who are focused and ready to improve. Remember their first AFCON in 2023, they got to the quarterfinals, but were stopped by Ghana. So it goes to show that though they are a small team, but they are open to learning, trying to improve themselves, and it's the result that we are all seeing now. And they also have in their team a former Manchester United player, that baby, who scored a wonder goal yesterday against Mozambique, way off the kind of goals Cristiano Ronaldo used to score in his prime from long range. That would be one of the goals of the tournament, a contender for goals of the tournament. So they made it known that the victory against Ghana was no fluke. That they worked out for it, and they replicated it again. They were defeating Mozambican side that almost defeated Egypt. So I thought we'll see more improve. I thought what Mozambique will give us something that will, make us understand that the game against Egypt, that it was just luck that Egypt had, but like if they had other ideas, they just dismantled them and took them apart to qualify for the round of 16. And the good thing is their final group game against Egypt is just an inconsequential game because they've already topped the group, so they don't have anything to fear. It's just an opportunity now for them to try out other players, try new tactics, and so while the other heavyweights fight for the second spot and if possibly the third best place position.
Okay, James, let's do permutation now in that group. Mozambique are not there really out because of the draw they were able to get against Egypt. If they're able to beat Ghana, which is going to be a tall order, if you ask me, and Cape Verde beats Egypt, Mozambique could still be, they could be in place for one of the best top 4 place teams in the group. Though, like I said, it's going to be a very difficult achievement for them.
The only thing that will make Mozambique qualify is if Cape Verde do them a favor by beating Egypt, while they have to beat Ghana. That's the only way they can be sure of qualifying from the group stage, because Egypt, the Pharaohs only have 2 points. Ghana, Black Stars, they have one.
1 point,
they have one. So
I think I have 1 point also.
Yes, that's the only way, So, or even if they provide, also if Egypt doesn't either lose or draw, because they will be stuck on 3 points, and if Mozambique beat Ghana, it's going to be 4 points for them, But it makes the final group game very, very interesting, Apart from Cape Verde, who we just there to enjoy themselves, while the other 3 teams fight it out for this. So what a way to, no one ever expected this to happen in this group. We will all give it to Ghana and Egypt, most especially Egypt, to top the group. But I mean, Femi, this is football, and this is the kind of things we love to see in football. When we see surprises, So it's all to play for now for these 3 teams, and don't know how it's going to pan out.
Okay, so James, let's talk about Senegal versus Cameroon. James, the game really burst into life in the second half, but despite all the efforts by the indomitable Lions of Cameroon, who later became domitable, Senegal simply showed that they are heads and shoulders above them.
Yeah, I expected a close, tight contest, but in Senegalese, the Teranga Lions, they showed that they are here for business. That the victory against Gambia was no fluke. That some people want to say, okay, because the Gambians were reduced to 10 players, wow, Senegal were able to just overrun them. But against former champions, the indomitable Lions, they showed that they are here for business, and they are what a way to take your rivals out. And let me remind you, Femi, that the last time Senegal defeated Cameroon at the AFCON was in 1990 in the group stage, 2-0. Since then, their last 3 meetings in 1992, 2002, and 2017 has been all Cameroon, So this is just a way to avenge those defeats, at least to have one over one of the biggest teams in Africa. So, and they did it in emphatic style, 3-1. At some point in the game, Cameroon almost buzzed their way back into the game. They had a very, very good opportunity to make it 2-2, but immediately they missed. Senegal took advantage. They went to the other side and they scored. So that's one thing about this game. If you don't take your chances, I mean, you find yourself, conceding, and that was exactly what happened.
Okay, James, let's look at this Senegal side. The fear that I have about this team is that apart from Mane, Koulibaly, and of course Mendy, Aliou Cisse has been able to build a team, not even around any of these players. He's been able to build a team, because I feel that if you pull out Mane, if you pull out Koulibaly, I think they will still be able to do something. So he's not parading stars, he's actually parading the team. And I'm sure that is why even AI and other individuals have been able to predict that they might likely defend this title.
Yes, Femi, that's the hallmark of a great team. You don't just put all your eggs in one basket, and because if you have a key player that you rely upon, if that player is taken out, Femi, I'm telling you, there's going to be a problem for the team. Yesterday we saw the standout player for the Senegalese was Ismail Assar. He scored and he created a goal. So that was what you want in your team. Sadio Mane is the best player in this team. But if you check out, he has just been contributing his own quota, which is very
Contribution,
good.
yeah,
He's not the one doing everything. The other guys are also doing their part.
involved.
Even the
Yeah.
Chelsea forward, Nicholas Jackson, he came on yesterday and he had a hand in the third goal. The way he shielded
Yeah.
the marker, laid the ball, and you understand that this is a well-drilled side that play together. They have played together and they understand each other very well. Except for the few players who, from the last edition, they are not part of the team now. But a huge bulk of the guys are still around, and it's only going to get better for them. It's going to take some stopping. I'm telling you, because they are really showing that they deserve to be African champions.
James, we don't even want to talk about what will happen to Samuel Eto'o Rigobert-Song if the Indomitable Lions eventually get knocked out of the group stage. But let's look at your very good person, your brother, Andre Onana. Apart from rushing to the midfield to whisper to his colleagues yesterday, what else did he bring into the game? Because a lot of people they've just been mocking him around social media that he has gone to Africa, somewhere far away from the Premier League to concede goals again. 3 goals in your first game. What else does Onana bring to this Cameroonian side? Because you're expecting, particularly the goal by Mane, a lot of people expected him to. It was a slow ball crawling to the far corner post, and he still couldn't reach it. So people said, so why is Onana actually in this team?
Femi, no, I won't blame him for any of the goals. The first one was a deflection of Zambo Iguisa. So, when it comes to deflection,
particularly the third goal.
No, Femi, even the third goal, that goal can beat any goalkeeper because Mane was smart about it. He didn't hit it too hard. He made sure that he placed it in a manner which it will go far from the keeper. That was the same goal Peter Rufai conceded against Italy in the 1994 World Cup. Because once you have defenders in front of you, the smart thing to do is to try and place it in an angle. Because the goalkeeper his view, it will be somehow blocked. So he was smart about it because I didn't mean he played it with force. He would have hit some of the defenders, but he was smart. He plays in a very tight angle. Onana had the fingertips to it, but the way Mane played it, there was no way he was going to stop it. So for me, for all the 3 goals he considered, I won't blame him. But some of the antics that he did in the game was what I was against. I mean, coming out from your area to come and like as if you are the captain or. I mean, I was like, what is this guy doing? You're just
the biggest player in the team, no doubt.
To create issues. There was one misplaced pass he made, and he was now shouting at the defender. Despite the fact that you made that misplaced pass, was just just attracting unnecessary attention to himself. So I mean, it's only going to get worse if this team fail to qualify. I think it's high time they sit down and discuss what they really want to do with Onana because he's becoming something else in that team. It's causing a lot of distraction. You are not doing some of the things he will never do in United. He will not come to Cameroon and feel he can do it and get away with it. I think for me, if Song has it, I don't think he's going to invite. I don't think Onana is in his plans. Honestly, I don't think. But just to avoid issue, I think that's why he's just trying to. But I mean, Femi, it's going to get worse, especially if they don't get victory in their last game. I'm telling you, Onana is going to call for every criticism, not only Flameleto or Rigobert-Song.
Okay, of course, Cameroon, they are really missing the services of Vincent Abubakar in this competition. And I know that the day Rigobert-Song will drop his things as the coach of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, he would have a lot of things to say regarding the Onana issue. James, let's talk about Guinea, the Gambia versus the Gambia. It ended 1 in favor of Guinea. Like you said yesterday, James, I remember you vividly saying that that this is the easiest game Guinea will play in this group, and they will need all the 3 points in this game. And of course, they did it. The 1 goal was okay for them. Now, but they still need a result, at least a result against Senegal, because if Cameroon beat the Gambia and Guinea lose to Senegal, that can jeopardize their chances yet. So they can't relax yet, James.
No, they can't. But the good thing is they got the victory. But they had to sweat for it. The Gambia made life so difficult for them, but they kept pushing, they kept creating chances, and they eventually got the breakthrough. It was important for them to come out with the victory because they will meet a Senegalese team that they've already qualified, but we never can tell. They might want to just go for all 9 points, But let's see how things pans out. But this Guinean thing that I'm looking at, I don't think after escaping Cameroon with a one man down, how to sweat to beat Gambia. Then against Senegal, I don't think they want to throw that away. A draw is enough for them to qualify, and I believe they'll do everything possible to make sure they don't lose it now because everything is in their hands now. They are not pressing any calculator. They are not relying on anybody. Their destiny is in their hands, and I believe they are capable enough to at least get a draw against Senegal.
Okay, James, let's go to today's matches. We'll be having Algeria versus Burkina Faso. Algeria did their first game against Angola, while Burkina Faso needed a late penalty to see off Mauritania. Would you say that we'll be in for a very entertaining game today?
Yes, of course, Femi. Going to be a tough one. The Algerians, they know that they have to respond now. The disappointing draw in the opener, and now they'll come up against Burkina Faso side that also had to dig deep. So for me, I think it's an advantage Burkina Faso. When you secure victory in your first game, it gives you that boost, that confidence. Going to the next game. Algeria have it all to do. They have to come out and play, but they never can tell what the final game will look like. So they'll be under a bit of pressure. Burkina Faso can afford to even get a draw. 5 points will be enough for you to qualify. But I don't see them as a team that will just want to sit back and get a draw. But a draw, a win, still favors them. So it's the Algerians will have their work cut out. And I think I'm looking at the draw again in this encounter. It's going to be a feisty one. And like I told you before the commencement of the competition, the Algerian team is a far different team from the one that won it. So it's like a rebuilding process for them. Most of the guys I think they've aged. Not too much, but they are not the same team. They are not the team that went like unbeaten in almost how many games. A lot have gone out of the team. But for today's game, I don't see them overrunning the Burkinabes. It's going to be a feisty one, and I'm tipping. I'm looking at maybe a 1-1 draw in this encounter.
Okay, of course, it is a time for Riyad Mahrez and particularly Ismail Benacer to make it count for the Algerians. So Ismail Benacer just returned from a very long injury layoff at AC Milan. Let's look at Mauritania versus Angola. As far as I'm concerned, this is a game of equal strength because going by what we saw Mauritania doing the first game against Burkina Faso, and then Angola having the mental fortitude to come back against Tunisia and get that draw. But I see if Mauritania are able to create chances, I see them winning this game. I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, Femi, but I don't know whether I will put Mauritania in the category of the likes of Mozambique and which other team that. No, the other team, small team that did well in their first game, only to capitulate in their next game. Just like like I said, Mozambique and one other team. I don't know. Maybe it's this first game bounce at major tournament where you give your all. When we get to the second game, the pressure starts getting in and they just collapse. So, but Mauritania, it was a late penalty which they considered. They did well against Burkina Faso. So, I don't know if that disappointment is still there for them. I'm coming up against Angola. They try their best, but I don't know. Like I said, how the defeat against Burkina Faso, how they took it, it was a painful one. So the game against Angola is going to be a close contest. But I believe they will want to. That's if they didn't allow the disappointment of the Burkina Faso game to still be in them. I think they should be able to do something at least at worst get a point. The problem with teams like this is they just try to contain big teams. They don't really go all out to say they want to win. They just try to contain, but if the opportunity arises, they will just nick it. So the game looks like I'll just give it slightly to Angola, but the problem with the Angolans is they don't score a lot of goals. I mean, just by the odd goals, But if they let their guards down, I'm telling you, Femi, Mauritania will pounce.
Okay, Mauritania, if if they are not able to get anything in this game, at least they should be proud of their jersey. As far as I'm concerned, they have the best jersey in the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations so far. I love the golden texture on the nameplate and of course on the number. James, let's look at Tunisia Mali. Of course, that will be the final game for today. Tunisia, they have a lot to prove, like I said, and they could be kissing the tournament goodbye if they are unable to do something against Mali today. Remember the shock defeat to Namibia. No one saw that coming at all. But the Malians are not a team that you would want to just override like that. We saw what they did to South Africa. Even though the first half, it looks like they were on the back foot, but in the second half, they were all over South Africa.
Yes, and the South African coach, they complain of the physicality of the Malians. I think football is. They don't know. I don't know whether are they not aware that football is it's about physical and other aspects. So they never saw
Are
it
they
from
Europeans? Are South Africans Europeans?
I'm surprised. So for me, Tunisia have it all to do. They have their work cut out. I mean, losing surprisingly to Namibia. So they now come up against the Malian side that we grown with confidence, especially securing a win against South Africa. But Femi, we cannot just rule out the Tunisians out. They will come out fighting. They will not want to just crash out in the group stage like that. And remember the last edition, they struggled in the group stage. They managed to qualify from the group stage, took out Nigeria in the round of 16. So they want to try as much as possible to put everything in place to make sure they get something out of this game. And Femi, if they should manage to get ahead of the Malians, it might be difficult for the Malians to come back, because the game against South Africa, it was just because the South Africans failed to take the opportunity. When they were on the ascendancy, they had a penalty, Pesitao missed it in the second half. That was how Mali grew into the game and took the opportunity that came their way. So it's like they're kind of a team that is a slow starter. But a team like Tunisia, the typical North Africans, if they get that advantage, I mean, Mali is going to sweat really. They are going to really work hard to get back into the game. So I'm not ruling out Tunisia totally. Fine, they lost surprisingly to Namibia, so that will kind of spur them on against Mali. And if they should be able to get ahead, I think they'll do everything in the books to make sure that they get the 3 points.
Okay, in 1 minute, James, will you be hugely disappointed if Tunisia lose this game and possibly out of the competition? Will you be disappointed?
I'll be surprised. I'll be surprised because US was one of the
more disappointed.
Femi, sometimes when your country is in contention, you want some of these big teams to crash out so that you make it easier for you. So if they crash out, you want the big teams to be around to make the competition exciting. At the same time, you also be looking at, okay, if some of the big teams can crash out early now, at least you make your job easier, especially if your country is still in the reckoning. So if they crash out, good one for the Super Eagles. If the likes of Ghana, Egypt crash out, you want to be happy that some of the teams that will give your team headache, they are going on one by one, So, but for Tunisia, they will want to. They're a team that you still want to see, and for sometimes you enjoy watching these heavyweight clashes. We also what Ghana and Egypt did, very good advertisement for African football. So that's just it.
Okay. Thank you so much, James Agberibi, for your thoughts on the show today. I'm sure if the Super Eagles meet the Tunisians again, I'm sure Thunder will not strike twice. And of course, we are hoping that we'll have Kyle De Ogundare by tomorrow or next to be back on the show. Our fans across the world, we appreciate you so much for your support, for your company every time on Sports Africa. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Please click on that notification button so that you get the video as soon as dropped. Of course, AFCON is still ongoing very, very strongly in Cote d'Ivoire, and we'll keep our fingers crossed as far as what Amrouche, the now suspended Tanzania coach by the Tanzania Football Federation, as well as by the CAF, is already out of the competition. So we'll see what Tanzania will even do. He's going to be on the bench in their next game. We'll keep our fingers crossed on all of them. We'll bring them to you as soon as we have it. Thank you so much. I remain Ashalolu Afemi Kaude. We'll see you all tomorrow. Bye for now.